Hello and welcome to Mastermind with me, Clive Myrie. In the spotlight tonight are Lee Ansett, a chartered accountant, will be answering questions on Michael Palin's travel documentaries. James Devine Stoneman, a trainee patent attorney. His subject, Lady Gaga. Jane Mackey, a retired goat farmer whose specialist subject is the American poet Emily Dickinson. And Katie Bamber, a senior communications manager. Her subject is the BAFTA-winning BBC sitcom Mum. In this job, I'm called many things: host, quizmaster, interrogator. And perhaps an interrogation is the best description of what we're about to witness. You see, I'm charged with getting information, names, dates, places, the correct answers to all my questions. 2 minutes on a specialist subject and 2.5 minutes on general knowledge. Offering up the right answers will be looked upon very favourably and may even get you a place in the Mastermind semi-finals. So, can I ask our first contender to join us, please? Your name?
Lee Ansett.
Your occupation?
Chartered accountant.
And your specialist subjects?
Michael Palin, travel documentaries.
Yes, the television travelogues featuring the former Monty Python star. In 2 minutes, starting now. In Around the World in 80 Days, Palin completes his journey, having circumnavigated the Earth in 79 days on the 12th of which month?
December.
Yes, the line of longitude that provides the basic route for Palin's journey from pole to pole is how many degrees east of the Greenwich Meridian?
30 degrees.
Yes, Palin begins his full circle journey around the Pacific Ocean by leaving Little Diomede Island in the Bering Strait in a boat made from the skin of which sea creature?
Walrus.
Yes, in New Europe. In which Czech town does Palin attend an aristocrat's ball, accompanied by the then current Miss World, Tatiana Kucherova?
Carlo Vivari.
Yes, in Himalaya, Palin visits the Gaiety Theatre in Shimla to introduce a play by which British dramatist telling the mostly military audience that they should, by the right, quick laugh?
Michael Frayn.
Yes, what's the name of the BAFTA-winning camera operator who accompanied Palin on all his travel series for the BBC but was not involved in the series on North Korea?
Nigel Meakin.
Yes, when Palin visits the village of Ait Ben Haddou in Sahara, he recalls what film that was shot there and which his parents once took him to see as a treat.
Sodom and Gomorrah.
Yes, while in Russia for full circle, Palin tries unsuccessfully to buy what domestic item that appears to be missing from most local hotel rooms?
A rubber bath plug.
Yes, in North Korea, what mountain, which he later visits, is named in the poem recited to Palin by a student on a visit to a school in Pyongyang?
Mount Pektu.
Yes, in Brazil, what's the name of the indigenous tribe known by the nickname the Fierce People, whom Palin visits in Amazonia?
Yanomami.
Yes, which composer wrote the music for Around the World in 80 Days and Pole to Pole?
Pass.
Which Venetian hotel does Palin visit in Hemingway Adventure, recalling that the American writer once read his own obituary on the terrace there after false reports of his death in a plane crash?
The Venice Hilton.
No, it's the Gritty Palace. In Around the World in 80 Days, what's the name of the boat that Palin hopes will take him from Suez to Jeddah, but which is ruled out of making the trip because of engine trouble?
The Algeria.
Yes, in Himalaya, a Tibetan astrology. I've started, so I'll finish. Tibetan astrology chart suggests that Palin was likely to have been what animal in a previous life?
An elephant.
Yes, an elephant. Lee, you had just the one pass. Which composer wrote the music for Around the World in 80 Days and Pole to Pole? Paddy Kingsland. And at the end of that round, Lee, you've got 12 points.
Thank you.
And our next contender, please. Your name?
James Devine Stoneman.
Your occupation?
Trainee patent attorney.
And your specialist subject?
Lady Gaga.
The flamboyant American singer and actress born Stephanie Germanotta in 1986. In 2 minutes, starting now. Lady Gaga has said that her stage name is derived from the title of a 1980s hit single by which band?
Queen.
Yes, Lady Gaga appeared at the 2022 Academy Awards ceremony alongside which other Oscar winner to announce the result of the Best Picture category?
Bradley Cooper.
No, Liza Minnelli. In her early teens, Lady Gaga made her first on-screen acting appearance as Girl at Swimming Pool #2 in what American crime drama series?
The Sopranos.
Yes, Lady Gaga co-wrote her debut single, Just Dance, with the song's producer, Red One, and which Senegalese-American singer?
Akon.
Yes, in the first half of 2009, Lady Gaga toured the UK, other parts of Europe and Australasia as the opening act for which successful American group?
The Pussycat Dolls.
Yes, a video of which Lady Gaga's single portrays her as an ill-fated starlet who exacts revenge on her boyfriend, played by the Swedish actor Alexander Skarsgård.
Paparazzi.
Yes, which fashion designer created the much-publicised meat dress worn by Lady Gaga at the 2010 MTV Video Music Awards?
Frank Fernandez.
Yes, the song Sour Candy from Lady Gaga's chart-topping 2020 album Chromatica features what K-pop group and is sung partly in Korean?
Blackpink.
Yes, with which American songwriter did Lady Gaga co-write the Oscar-nominated song Till It Happens to You for the 2015 documentary film The Hunting Ground?
Diane Warren.
Yes, what two words tattooed on Lady Gaga's left shoulder are in the handwriting of the Japanese photographer and artist Araki?
Pass.
Which song recorded for the soundtrack of the 2022 sequel to the film Top Gun did Lady Gaga describe as a love letter to the world during and after a very hard time?
Hold My Hand.
Yes, Lady Gaga recorded a version of what 1970s hit single for the 2018 album Revamp, reimagining the songs of Elton John and Bernie Taupin?
Your Song.
Yes, Lady Gaga pledged $1 million to New York and the American Red Cross in 2012 to help victims of which natural disaster?
The Haiti earthquake.
No, it was Hurricane Sandy. James, you had just one pass. The two words tattooed on Lady Gaga's left shoulder, Tokyo Love. And at the end of that round, James, you've got 10 points.
Thank you.
And our next contender, please. Your name,
Jane Mackey.
your occupation,
Retired goat farmer.
and your specialist subject.
Emily Dickinson.
The influential 19th century American poet who wrote almost 1,800 poems. In 2 minutes, let's go. Emily Dickinson was born in Amherst, Massachusetts in 1830. What was the name of the house in which she was born and lived for most of her adult life?
The homestead.
Yes, what was the name of the residential college in South Hadley where Dickinson was studying when, in 1848, she was brought home for a month after falling ill?
Mount Holyoke Female Seminary.
Yes, which poem by Dickinson opens with the lines, "Because I could not stop for death, he kindly stopped for me"?
Pass.
In a letter to her brother Austin, Dickinson makes a sarcastic reference to his poetry writing and calls him what name after a mythological creature?
Pegasus.
Yes, in a poem sent to her nephew Ned in 1882. What book does Dickinson refer to as being an antique volume written by faded men?
The Bible.
Yes, Dickinson was a keen gardener. What's the name of the plant depicted on the front of her first collection of poetry, which was edited and published after her death by her friends Thomas Wentworth Higginson and Mabel Loomis Todd?
Indian pipe.
Yes, in her poem that begins, "I'm nobody, who are you?" Dickinson declares, how dreary to be, what?
A frog.
No, somebody. Throughout her life, Dickinson had several male friends, such as Benjamin Franklin Newton, who gave her literary guidance and support, and whom she referred to by what collective name?
Preceptors.
Yes, after the death of which publisher and editor in 1878 did Dickinson write to their mutual friend Maria Whitney, "I have thought of you often since the darkness, though we cannot assist another's night"?
Samuel Bowles.
Yes, in a poem written around 1861, what emotion does Dickinson describe as the thing with feathers that perches in the soul?
Hope.
Yes, what was the name of her father's close friend, a judge whom Dickinson may have considered marrying in the final years of her life?
Otis Philip Lords.
Yes, Dickinson died in 1886 after a long illness, and at her funeral, her friend, the writer Thomas Wentworth Higginson, read which poem by Emily Bronte?
No coward soul is mine.
It was No Coward Soul Is Mine. And Jane, you had just the one pass, the poem that Dickinson wrote that opens with the lines, "Because I could not stop for death, he kindly stopped for me." It's The Chariots. And at the end of that round, Jane, you've got 10 points.
Thank you.
And our final contender, please. Your name,
Katie Bamber,
your occupation,
Senior Communications Manager,
and your specialist subjects.
BBC sitcom Mum.
The award-winning BBC sitcom written by Stefan Goloszewski about Kathy, played by Leslie Manville, who has recently been widowed. In 2 minutes, let's go. The first episode introduces viewers to members of Kathy's family before the funeral of her husband, who had what first name?
Dave.
Yes, during a garage clear-out, Kathy's son Jason finds a scrapbook he made when he was younger and exclaims surprise at how much he liked which footballer?
Teddy Sheringham.
Yes, what television channel does Kathy's brother Derek describe to Lynn as informative and quite good to have on just before you go to sleep?
BBC 4.
Yes, which actress plays Kelly's mother Carol, whom Kathy says might be the worst person I have ever met?
Tanya Franks.
Yes, when Jason's girlfriend Kelly confesses that she smashed Kathy's ugly frog ornament thing because she wanted to see if it would bounce, how much does Kathy reveal it cost?
70p.
Yes, what's the title of the CD that the long-term family friend Michael brings round to Kathy's house so that they can listen to it while they clear out her front room ready for a new carpet to be fitted?
Graceland.
Yes, in the episode August, when Kelly's cousin Debs visits, it transpires that she thinks that what colour doesn't count as a colour.
Turquoise.
Yes, what's the title of the episode in which Kelly finds out that Derek's snobbish partner Pauline also works in a supermarket, although Pauline denies that Waitrose is a supermarket?
October.
Yes, Derek's daughter Danielle comes to Kathy's house for a barbecue, and after telling Kelly she hates all humans, which celebrity does Kelly suggest as someone whom it's impossible to hate?
Holly Willoughby.
Yes, what single word does Pauline use to describe the James Joyce novel Ulysses when she's asked on 2 occasions if it's a good book?
Riveting.
Yes, after not having been to Kathy's for a while, Michael comments on the new garden chairs, and Kathy tells him she bought them in which Essex town?
Harlow.
Yes, Series 3 sees the character celebrating Derek's birthday with a week in a country house where Kathy is allocated a bedroom with what name?
Chestnut.
Yes, what word for an item of clothing that Kelly bought with hat and gloves for a total of £3.50 does Kelly love saying and makes Kathy and Michael say it too?
Snood.
Yes, when it emerges that Kathy fell asleep on Michael while they were all watching a film. I've started, so I'll finish. Derek expresses bemusement that anyone could fall asleep watching a film in which franchise?
Transformers.
Yes, it was Transformers. Great memory recall, and Katie, you had no passing at the end of that round. You've got 14 points.
Thank you.
And at the end of the specialist subjects round, let's have a look at the scores. In joint 3rd place with 10 points each, James and Jane. In 2nd place with 12 points, it's Lee. And in 1st place with 14 points, it's Katie. So now, the general knowledge round. And if there's a tie at the end, then the number of passes is taken into account and the person with the fewer passes is the winner. And if they're tied on passes as well, it's a tie break. So let's ask James to join us again, please. James, you start with 10 points. You've now got 2.5 minutes on general knowledge. Starting now. In grammar, the pronoun I is referred to as the first person singular. Correspondingly, the pronoun we is known as the first person what?
Plural.
Yes, what name derived from a Yiddish word is given to a bread roll in the shape of a ring, the dough of which is boiled before it's baked?
Bagel.
Yes, what means of communication was invented in 1971 by the American computer programmer Ray Tomlinson?
Email.
Yes, which British band fronted by Francis Rossi had UK hit singles in the 1970s with Down Down, Rockin' All Over the World and Whatever You Want?
Status quo.
Yes, the breed of dogs, sometimes called the Alsatian, is also commonly known in Britain by what other name?
German Shepherd.
Yes, which poet laureate married his second wife, a nurse named Carol Orchard, in 1970 and remained with her until his death in 1998?
Ted Hughes.
Yes, which British fashion model stars as Margot Roth-Spiegelman in the 2015 film Paper Towns and as Enchantress in 2016 Suicide Squad?
Pass.
In 2019, Mahar Vajiralongkorn was crowned as King Rama, the 10th of which country in Southeast Asia?
Thailand.
Yes, which British artist painted the work commonly known as Bubbles, an 1886 portrait of his grandson, which was later used to advertise a brand of soap?
John Everett Millay.
Yes, what's the name of the Scottish Olympian who, in 2022, was made an OBE for services to curling?
Eve Muirhead.
Yes. Which city, the capital of the Republic of Georgia, was known as Tiflis until 1936 and now has a name that means warm spring?
Tbilisi.
Yes. What name derived from a French word for hook is given to the handicraft similar to knitting that involves looping yarn or thread into patterns using a hooked needle?
Crochet.
Yes. Which British actor, known for his role as Rick Grimes in the television series The Walking Dead, had previously played the character Egg in This Life and Simon in Teachers?
Bill Nye.
No, Andrew Lincoln. What metallic element has the chemical symbol Ag, derived from its Latin name argentum?
Silver.
Yes, an EU-funded exchange program for European students introduced in 1987 is named after which Dutch scholar who died in 1536?
Erasmus.
Yes, what number is the highest prime number below 100?
97.
Yes, which American composer who died in 1990 wrote the musical work Fanfare for the Common Man?
Copeland.
Yes, what surgical instrument, I've started so I'll finish, used for seizing or holding, particularly in the delivery of babies, has a name derived from the Latin for tongs?
Forceps.
It is forceps. James, you had just a one pass. The fashion model starring as Margot Roth Spiegelman in Paper Towns, it's Cara Delevingne. An amazing round. At the end of that, you've got 26 points.
Thank you.
Next up, it's Jane. Jane, you start with 10 points. The score to beat as it stands is 26 points. You've now got 2.5 minutes on general knowledge. Let's go. In the United States and Canada, what's the telephone number for the emergency services?
911.
Yes, according to a common expression, the road to hell is paved with good what?
Intentions.
Yes, the last diary entry of which British explorer in late March 1912 ends with the words, "For God's sake, look after our people"?
Captain Scott.
Yes, what dish consisting of stuffed pasta tubes baked in a sauce has a name that translates from Italian as large tubes?
Cannelloni.
Yes, the 2022 television drama series starring Julia Garner as a fake German heiress who cheats her way into New York's high society is entitled Inventing Whom?
Anna.
Yes, the acronym SONAR for the equipment on a ship used for searching and mapping underwater is short for sound, navigation and what?
Radar.
No, ranging. Which member of the crow family with a long tail and a predominantly black and white plumage has the scientific name Pica Pica?
Magpie.
Yes, in April 2022, which cricketer succeeded Joe Root as Test captain of the England men's team?
Andrew Sinclair.
No, Ben Stokes in the novelty song A Windmill in Old Amsterdam, which was a UK hit single for Ronnie Hilton in 1965. What creature wearing clogs lived in the windmill?
A mouse.
Yes, what political title is held by the spouse of a female US vice president and was conferred on the lawyer Douglas Emhoff when his wife, Kamala Harris, was inaugurated in 2021?
First Lady.
No, second gentleman. According to the title of an award-winning 1985 novel by Jeanette Winterson, what are not the only fruit?
Oranges.
Yes, what word for an endorsement in a passport to allow entry into a foreign country is derived from the Latin for seen or viewed?
Visa.
Yes, which American fashion designer turned filmmaker directed the 2009 drama A Single Man and the 2016 thriller Nocturnal Animals?
Coco Chanel.
No, Tom Ford. What name derived from Greek words for all and earth is given to the supercontinent that once comprised most of the world's land masses but began to break up around 200 million years ago?
Gaia.
No, Pangaea. Charles I at the Hunt in the collection of the Louvre is a work by which Flemish artist who became a court painter in 17th century England?
Van Dyke.
Yes, which international airport serving Glasgow is a few miles outside the town of Ayr on the west coast of Scotland?
Aberdeen.
No, Prestwick. Which film studio founded in 1924 adopted a logo that features a roaring lion and the Latin phrase ars gratia artis, or art for art's sake?
MGM.
It is MGM. Jane, you had no passes, and at the end of that round, you've got a total of 21 points.
Thank you.
Next up is Lee. Lee, you start with 12 points. The score to beat as it stands is 26 points. You've now got 2.5 minutes on general knowledge. Starting now. In the name of a form of popular music, the abbreviation R&B stands for rhythm and what?
Blues.
Yes, the paintings The Broken Column, Without Hope and The Wounded Deer are among the many self-portraits by which 20th century Mexican artist?
Frida Kahlo.
Yes, what name for the Middle Eastern lake, sometimes called the Salt Sea, reflects the fact that its water is so salty that no creatures except certain microorganisms can live in it?
The Dead Sea.
Yes, the name of what type of long wavelength electromagnetic radiation is often abbreviated to the letters IR?
Infrared.
Yes, what 2006 film stars Hugh Jackman and Christian Bale as two rival stage magicians in Victorian London?
The Prestige.
Yes, what common name is given to the small dark specks or threads that can sometimes appear to drift across a person's field of vision as a result of shadows cast onto the retina?
Floaters.
Yes, the late 19th century operas Otello and Falstaff, both based on Shakespeare plays, were the final two completed works by which Italian composer?
Giuseppe Verdi.
Yes, at the 2021 Ryder Cup, which American golfer captained the USA to victory over Europe?
Steve Stricker.
Yes, the influential fashion designer Raymond Clark was known professionally by what nickname after the village in Lancashire where he was evacuated during the Second World War?
Morecambe.
No, Aussie Clark. What Latin term meaning for the public good is typically applied to legal work undertaken by lawyers without charging a fee?
Pro bono.
Yes, the Royal Air Force aerobatic team formed in 1964 is more commonly known by what name?
Red Arrows.
Yes, in astronomy, the aphelion is the point at which the orbit of a planet or comet is furthest from what celestial object?
The Sun.
Yes, a 14-year-old girl named Susie Salmon is the ghostly narrator of what 2002 novel by Alice Sebold?
The Lovely Bones.
Yes, which Hollywood director and former child actor played the high school student Richie Cunningham in the 1970s and 80s American television sitcom Happy Days?
Ron Howard.
Yes, which coastal town in southeast England was granted city status in 2022 in honour of its late MP, who'd long campaigned for the change?
Margate.
No, Southend-on-Sea. What's the name of the lead singer with the 1990s band Kenickie, who later became a television and radio presenter and in 2019 began hosting the BBC Six Music breakfast show?
Lauren Laverne.
Yes, the Norse god known in German as Wotan is usually known in English by what name?
Odin.
Yes, in 2018, Miguel Diaz-Canel became president of which Caribbean country?
Jamaica.
No, Cuba. What name from a French word meaning to roast is given to a rotating spit? I've started, so I'll finish. Used to cook meat as well as to a restaurant which specialises in roasted meat.
Rotisserie.
It is rotisserie. And Lee, you had no passes, and at the end of that round, you've got 28 points. And finally, let's have Katie again. So, Katie, you start with 14 points, the score to beat to get through to the semi-finals is Lee's 28 points. You've now got 2.5 minutes on general knowledge. Starting now, in a common expression, reversing the natural or logical order of a procedure is putting the cart before the what?
Horse.
Yes, what style of felt or straw hat with a very broad brim is particularly associated with Mexico and takes its name from the Spanish word for shade?
Sombrero.
Yes, in the animated television series The Simpsons, which character has two sisters named Patty and Selma?
Marge.
Yes, the poems Sailing to Byzantium and The Second Coming, first published in the 1920s, were written by which Irish poet?
Auden.
No, W.B. Yeats. What 2004 film stars Don Cheadle and Sophie Okonedo as a married couple who give shelter to over 1,000 refugees during a conflict in Central Africa?
Hotel Rwanda.
Yes, what's the surname of the British politician and former leader of the Labour Party who is pejoratively known by his opponents as Red Ed?
Ed Miliband.
Yes, at the 2022 Brit Awards, which singer won the Artist of the Year, Album of the Year and British Song of the Year categories, bringing her total number of Brit Awards to 12?
Adele.
Yes. What's the name of the god of metalworking and fire, who is the Roman counterpart of the Greek god Hephaestus?
Ceres.
No, Vulcan. In April 2022, Royal Mail increased the price of a UK first-class stamp by 10 pence to what price?
97p.
No, 95p. Which Roman Catholic nun, who was made a saint in 2016, had previously been awarded the 1979 Nobel Peace Prize?
Mother Teresa.
Yes, the acronym of the pressure group CAMRA, founded in 1971, stands for Campaign for what?
Real ale.
Yes, which island country is sometimes referred to as the teardrop of India because of its shape and location?
Sri Lanka.
Yes, in 2022, which rugby league club extended its record number of Challenge Cup titles to 20 when they beat Huddersfield Giants in the final?
Leeds Rhinos.
No, Wigan Warriors. The word extinct describes a species that no longer survives. What similar word from the Latin for standing out is used to refer to a species that still exists?
Extant.
Yes. Which town overlooking Cardigan Bay is the subject of a patriotic Welsh song associated with the resolute defence of its castle by Lancastrians during the Wars of the Roses?
Carefully.
No, Harlock. In music, what name is given to the device that fits across all of the strings of a guitar to raise the pitch of each string simultaneously?
Strummer.
No, Capo. Leonardo da Vinci painted his mural, The Last Supper, onto the refectory wall of the convent of Santa Maria del Grazie, in which Italian city?
Rome.
No, Milan. In French words such as chateau and crepe, what's the name? I've started, so I'll finish. What's the name for the accent resembling an inverted letter V that's placed above a vowel to indicate that it should be pronounced differently?
Chapeau.
No, it's circumflex. Katie, you had no passes, and at the end of that round, you've got a total of 24 points.
Thank you.
What an incredibly high-scoring show. Let's have a look at the final scores. In fourth place with 21 points is Jane. In third place with 24 points, it's Katie. In second place with 26 points, it's James. And in first place with 28 points, it's Lee, which means he goes through to the semi-finals. Congratulations to him. If you would like to be a contender in the next series, please go to our website, bbc.co.uk/mastermind, and you can follow us as ever at Mastermind Quiz. Join us again next time for more Masterminds. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.
My special subject was Michael Palin's travel documentaries. I've never met Michael in person, but I feel like that I know him because I've watched so many in the last few months preparing for this subject. I think the sound of his voice I've heard more than my family and my friends. Carlo Vivari.
Yes.
Mount Pegtu.
Yes.
An elephant.
Yes.
Hopefully I've done him proud.
With 28 points, it's Lee, which means he goes through to the semi-finals.
When I was young, we were in London and on holiday, and we tried to get tickets for the Mastermind final, which was being filmed at the time, but unfortunately it sold out. So I've never actually been to a recording of Mastermind, never mind a final before. So it would be quite nice to get to the final just to see it in action.